Which team is going to win the AFC East? I think it's going to be the Jets. I'll tell you why. It's the Jake Asman Football Show, and it starts right now.
Oh, yeah. It's the Jake Asman Football Show. Brought to you by BetUS. Sign up now and triple your bonus. That's 125%. Let's get into some NFL football. Presented by BetUS Sportsbook and Casino. And here's your host, Jake Asman.
Oh, yeah, baby. Here we go. The Jake Asman Football Show. Thank you to BetUS for being our presenting sponsor. More on BetUS and their amazing sportsbook in just a second. But we'll talk today about the state of the AFC East. Now, if you paid any attention to what's been happening with the division, the betting odds have moved all over the place. In fact, over the weekend at BetUS, the Jets were actually the betting favorite. But then the odds shifted. So here are the latest AFC East odds according to BetUS Sportsbook. I grabbed the screenshot right before the show. The Buffalo Bills are now once again the slight favorites at plus 170, followed by the New York Jets at plus 180, the Miami Dolphins in third at plus 200, and the New England Patriots dead last at plus 2,500. Now, let me make this clear. No one, and I mean no one, is going to feel sorry for the Patriots and their fans. In fact, here is the world's smallest violin seeing the Patriots odds dead last. Anyway, we're going to break down the state of the AFC East here on the Jake Asman Football Show. And the way I look at this division, I think the New York Jets are the most talented team in the division. I do. Compare the rosters. And I understand people who aren't Jet fans are going to say, well, it's the Jets. The Jets are going to jet. I get it. More often than not, you've been right if that's been your approach. But eventually, things are going to change. Eventually, the Chicago Cubs won a World Series. Eventually, the Boston Red Sox won a World Series. Eventually, the Jets are going to win the AFC East for the first time since 2002, let alone the fact they have the longest playoff drought in football, have not made the postseason since 2010. You look at the rosters, tell me where the Jets are weak. What's the weakness? You're going to tell me offensive line? It's not. Jets have added Tyron Smith, Morgan Moses, drafted Olu Fashanu, signed John Simpson. Their O-line is a strength. Their backup tackles to Tyron, because I know the next thing is going to be, well, he's not going to stay healthy. They drafted a kid from Penn State who could already play left and right tackle in Olu Fashanu, who's their long-term answer. They have a really good O-line. Then you're going to say, well, Aaron Rodgers. Okay, maybe Aaron Rodgers is not MVP Aaron Rodgers. But guess what? This team won 7 games last year, and the quarterbacks who won those games, you know where they are right now in the NFL? Tim Boyle is about to be cut and be put on the Texans practice squad. Zach Wilson's the number 3 quarterback for the Broncos. Trevor Siemian's not in the league. So you could tell me what issues you have with the Jets. I have answers. And then you could say, well, Aaron's not going to stay healthy, so it won't matter. Okay. Tyrod Taylor's pretty good, right? How many games would the Jets have won last year if they had Tyrod as their quarterback? Probably 9 or 10. They can't go 2-1 if Aaron Rodgers can only play 14 games. So when I break down the state of the AFC East, I feel like the Jets are the only team this offseason that I could tell you is objectively a better team. Where have the Bills improved this offseason? They have some major question marks in that wide receiver room. They had the best quarterback in Josh Allen, but here's the thing. Jets have beaten Josh Allen the last 2 years head-to-head with Zach Wilson at quarterback. Josh Allen's really good against teams that aren't the Jets. I got questions with Buffalo. Losing Matt Milano is a big blow for that defense. I don't root for injuries. You shouldn't if you're a football fan because it could very easily be your team. But that's a big loss for the Bills. And both the Jets and Dolphins could take advantage of that. And that brings me to Miami. The Miami Dolphins last season were a bit of a paper tiger. They're really good against bad teams. Jets included. They beat Tim Boyle and Zach Wilson last year. The first game on Black Friday, was a 10-6 game going into the half until the Hail Mary happened, and then all bets were off. Tua threw another pick to Brandon Eccles in that game that was returned the other way for a pick six. Miami is a good football team. But it's funny. Everyone just assumes Tua is now not injury prone anymore. I don't know. And I'm not even going to play that card because we could say the same thing about Rodgers and the Jets, right? But my issue with the Dolphins, I look at their wins last year. How many of them came against good teams? They beat one team with a winning record, the Cowboys. And the Cowboys were only good at home last year and not the same team on the road. The record's the record. Tua struggles in the cold. He's never won a game when the temperature dips below 45 degrees. These are facts. So, where have the Dolphins gotten better this offseason? Bradley Chubb starting the year on the PUP list. Robert Hunt no longer there on that offensive line. They have a lot of question marks. Now, I think the Jets have the most talent. What will concern you about the Jets, if you go through the division, is the head coach. But I'll say this for Robert Saleh. He has built a top 5 defense. Players play for him. Now he has the quarterback and a backup quarterback. That would be my only concern with the Jets. Miami, I got concerns with a lot of things. Buffalo with a lot of things. How many teams have a defense like the Jets? Aaron Rodgers, 81-10 in his career when his defense allows less than 20 points in a game. The Jets defense the last 2 years has allowed under 20 points per game. So, to me, the Jets are the best team in the AFC East. Best talent. And I'm sorry, I think they win the division. I do. This team won 7 games last year with 3 quarterbacks who, objectively speaking, are garbage. Seriously. Zach Wilson is a 3rd-string quarterback right now. Tim Boyle is a 4th-string quarterback right now. Trevor Siemian's out of the league. And by the way, he was better than the first 2 guys I named. He actually just knew how to get the ball to Breece Hall. What a concept. Get the ball to Garrett Wilson. What a concept. And that's another thing. Yeah, we talk about the skill players of Miami. Give Garrett Wilson a real quarterback. Watch what he does. Breece Hall was great last year, 2nd in yards from scrimmage. Now what happens when the boxes aren't stacked against them? Injuries decide everything. That's life. That's football. We understand that. But if I'm betting on any team to win the division, the best odds at BetUS are now the Jets. They're now the Jets. And the fact that the line has now moved at BetUS Sportsbook here, where the Jets are actually 2nd favorites in the division, I'll take the Jets at plus 180. If you want to make this same bet, BetUS is offering a 125% sign-up bonus up to $2,000 with your first 3 deposits. Use my link in the description or the pinned comment to sign up and make your account today with BetUS Sportsbook. But, folks, Jets are the best team in the AFC East. They got to prove it. But talent-wise, they are. They've beaten the Bills head-to-head last 2 years with Zach Wilson. You tell me Aaron Rodgers plays 14 or 15 games, I think they win the division. That's how I view it. And Dolphins fans and Bills fans, they won't agree. They'll just say, it's the Jets, same old Jets. They'll poo-poo them. But tell me where I'm wrong. Tell me where I'm wrong. The other thing I think that the Jets have going for them that Miami doesn't and the Bills don't, look at the schedules. Look at the schedules. The Jets are going to start the year in San Fran. Yeah, that's a really tough game. But it's not a game they can't necessarily win. But say they lose that game. All right, 0-1. You play Will Levis and the Titans week 2. Drake May and the Patriots week 3. Bo Nix and the Broncos week 4. Sam Darnold and the Vikings week 5. Jets will be 4-1 going into that showdown against the Bills on Monday Night Football at JetLife Stadium. And if that happens, all of a sudden the Jets start to get some confidence. All of a sudden the Jets start to learn how to win. And it's going to snowball. And this is going to be a fun year. So the New York Jets right now have a win total projection of around 9.5. I'm going on BetUS, and I'm taking the over on that number. I got the graphic for you guys right here. I mean, come on now. Jets won 7 with a traffic cone at quarterback last year. You don't think they're winning at least 10 games? So I'm bullish on this Jets team. I am. That's scary because last year I was confident too, and we know what happened. But even with the injuries last year to the offensive line, if Aaron Rodgers had just stayed healthy, they were better than 7-10. If he's a top 12 quarterback, they're at least a 10-win team. If he's top 10, they're probably 11. If he's in the 5-6 range, they're probably a 12 or 13-win team. And once again, I asked the Bills fans watching, the Dolphins fans watching, where have your teams gotten better this offseason? If anything, maybe you stayed the same. And if you want to pick the Bills because they have Josh Allen, I get it. He's still the best quarterback in the division until proven otherwise. But where have you gotten better? And unfortunately, if you're a Bills fan, roster-wise, this is probably the weakest roster you've had in 3 or 4 years. They've gone the opposite direction with Josh Allen and company. They maybe already had their best roster in this kind of window. I don't think we're saying that about the Jets. I actually think Miami's a better team than Buffalo. The difference is I think it's close enough where I'll take the better quarterback. So I have the AFC East finishing out like this. New York Jets 12-5, division champions. Buffalo Bills 11-6. Miami Dolphins 10-7. 3 playoff teams from the division. Each team, the key, you want to know the key to winning the AFC East? You got to bank 2 wins against the Patriots. And if you're the Jets, I think you like the spot where you play New England. You play on week 3 in your home opener. And then I think it's like week 7 in their place. Drake May might end up being a good quarterback. It's probably not going to be a good quarterback when you play him twice in the first 8 games of the year. Those need to be 2 wins for the Jets. That's the key. You want to win the division? You probably got to go 4-2. You want to win the division? Of those 4 wins, you need to bank on 2 of them being against the crummy Patriots. Which, here's one thing Jet fans, Bills fans, and Dolphins fans, we can all agree on. Man, is it fun to see how bad the Patriots are at football. Oh, baby. Comments, questions, super chats. We'll cut the line. You're watching the Jake Asman Football Show presented by BetUS Sportsbook. This is a new venture on the channel. We will do this several times a week where we talk all things NFL and get away from the typical Jake Asman Jet Show focus. Ladies and gentlemen, a super chat from Tyrone has come in. It cuts the line. Tyrone, appreciate your support of the Jake Asman Football Show. Saw Lamb's new contract is getting quarterback and number 1 receiver will cost almost $100 million. Wow. Well, anyway, go Jets. Look, you could argue now that number 1 wide receiver has become a premium position in the league. The way these guys get paid, making over $30 million a year now, that's how it goes. It's an offensive league. You need a quarterback to have any shot, but you need weapons with that quarterback as well. I guess unless your name is Mahomes, as he proved last year. But Mahomes did have Travis Kelce, who is arguably the best tight end ever. And he stepped it up in the playoffs. But if you don't have Mahomes, you need weapons. And CeeDee Lamb has been unbelievable. That's the bottom line. Matthew Ryan says, if you want to win the division, you need 5 wins. If you go 5-1, you're winning the AFC East. I would agree. I think 4-2 could get it done. Assuming, I'll use the Jets for this example. I think you could win the division at 12-5 if you have 2 wins over New England and you at least split with Buffalo and Miami. If you're 4-2, I think you could win the division. Which is what I would predict the Jets to do. I would have them splitting with Miami and Buffalo and going 4-2 because they'll beat New England twice. That's how I look at it. If I was projecting, what the record will be. Hey, if you're watching the Jake Asman Football Show live right now, please hit the like button. If you're an NFL fan, subscribe to the channel. And we'll give you NFL content throughout the week. We'll give you gambling content, fantasy football content, big-time opinions, special guests, and much more. So appreciate everyone for their support of the Jake Asman Football Show, brought to you by my friends at BetUS Sportsbook. All right, let's get to some calls. Our Gustbuster Umbrella hotline is open, and we say hello to one of the more knowledgeable football fans out there. We say hello to 13-year-old Connor, who joins us now. Hello, Connor.
Jake, how you doing?
What's up, Connor?
Good to be back on here for the second time today. Great show earlier with Dom C. Great insight and everything. But I just wanted to ask you a quick question about the AFC East as a whole. Obviously, there's a lot of talk between the quarterback room. You've made it clear that you think Josh Allen's the best quarterback in the division, and I agree with you there. It's fans will fight over who's currently better right now, Tua or Aaron Rodgers. If you had to give your power rankings for quarterbacks in the division, what would that look like?
Man, great question. To me, it's still Rodgers at 2, because the way I judge it is this. I got one game I need to win. Who do I want at quarterback? To me, until I see Aaron not be what I think he's going to be, I'm taking Aaron Rodgers. I think Tua is a very good quarterback. I'm not trying to be like the non-Dolphin fan that's bashing him. I don't trust him in big games. I don't trust him in cold weather. You got to tell me, are we in a dome? Are we in Miami where it's sunny in September? Like, I guess that impacts my decision too. If we're playing in any element, I'm taking Aaron Rodgers 10 out of 10 times.
Yeah, I completely agree there. And then obviously Jets play all three other teams in their division twice a year. We seem pretty confident that the Jets are going to sweep the Patriots. Between the Dolphins and the Bills, do you think we'll split with them, or do we have a chance to sweep both of them?
I think they probably split with both.
Okay. Yeah, I think that's correct, because the Jets have always they've beat Buffalo these past few years at home, but they've struggled against them on the road. The thing with the thing that concerns me with the Bills roster, though, is they have no wide receiver core. I mean, you look and it's like a combination of Keon Coleman, Khalil Shakur, Curtis Samuel. That concerns me. And I personally think I agree. I think the Jets are winning the division. I think they have a floor of 10 wins and a ceiling of 13, and then I think the Bills will be something 10-7, 11-6. And then Dolphins probably 9-8, 10-7, and then Patriots probably 4-5 wins. But Jake, appreciate you taking my call.
Connor, I appreciate you being, I believe, our second ever caller in the history of the Jake Asman Football Show. So appreciate that. If I were to predict which team is in danger of missing the playoffs completely, it would be Miami, because I just have enough faith in Allen being able to will his team to the playoffs, because he saw that last year. But I'm not trying to dismiss Miami. They are a good football team. But I think it's a little fool's gold until we see them do it against good teams. I mean, 1-5 against teams with a winning record last year. Tua in the cold is a thing. And I'm going to look at the Miami schedule, because I was looking at it earlier. It's not exactly the easiest thing in the world. Remember last year they had all the easy games early, and it kind of built up this like persona that the Dolphins were this great team, and then they collapsed and blew the division. I mean, it is not an easy schedule this year for Miami. Jacksonville week 1. Buffalo week 2 on a Thursday night. Seattle week 3 in Seattle. Then they should be able to win Tennessee at home and at New England into their bye week. I mean, would it shock anyone if Miami's 2-3 at the bye? At Indy after the bye, home against Arizona. At Buffalo, at the Rams, home Raiders, home New England, at Green Bay, home versus the Jets, at Houston, home versus the Niners. By then, the Niners should have all their players back. At Cleveland late in the year on December 29th. And then, look, if Miami's good and the Jets are good, at the Jets January 5th. Cold-ass weather. So if the AFC East is on the line going into that game, I'll take the Jets at home. With those conditions. But we'll see. That's why they play the games, right? That is why they play the damn games. I want to thank everyone who tuned in to another episode of the Jake Asman Football Show. As always, we are presented by BetUS Sportsbook. So if you're looking for a sportsbook this football season, BetUS is the answer. Use my link in the description or the pinned comment when you sign up. Take advantage of BetUS. They're offering a 125% sign-up bonus up to $2,000 on your first 3 deposits. All right, that does it for me. We'll be back later this week with another Jake Asman Football Show. If you didn't get a chance to watch the show live, comment down below your predictions for the AFC East. Give us your take. Look forward to hearing, or reading, I should say, your thoughts down below. Thanks again to everyone who tuned in. My name is Jake Asman. This has been the Jake Asman Football Show.
This video is brought to you by BetUS Sportsbook and Casino.